Hey everyone, how are you all doing? I am so excited to talk to you all today. I'm going to share my screen a little bit so we know what we're all talking about here. I see a few of you chatting over on YouTube, so hello to Vicky and to Dana. I'm so happy that you guys are joining me this afternoon. And let's just make sure that we are also live. We should be live in 3 places right now. So it looks like we are live in my Facebook group, my Double the Stitches Knitting community. And also we should be live on my Facebook page. It looks like that worked wonderfully too. So I am thrilled. And then I see you chatting on YouTube. So fabulous. We are good to go, friends. So here we are. This is what I like to call Off the Stitches. It is, it's become really like a monthly kind of get together where I share what's going on kind of behind the scenes, let you know what I've been up to, special events that are coming up, all of that stuff. And so I have something very, very special to share with you all today. We've got some other friends saying hi. Hi, Jessica. Tamara says hi from Illinois. We've got hi, Jess. Is that you, Kristen? Angelique says afternoon. Good, God bless you. So happy Friday to you all. Happy April 19th. The weather is finally getting warmer and we have local yarn store day. LYS Day is coming up in just one weekend. Next weekend, we've got Ball and Stitch Says Hi on YouTube. So hello to everyone watching in all the places. I love that I have this tool that lets me be in different places so that I can be more accessible to wherever you prefer to join me from. Angelique says from Yonkers in the US, so in New York. So neighbor, not close, but I'm here in New York too. And so I wanted to share a bunch of things with you all because Yarn Store Day is coming up, and this is the 5th year that I have created a special pattern designed specifically to be released for Yarn Store Day. And this year it's called the Trust Fall Shawl. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the shawl, about how LYS Day works, and all of those things. But before we dive into all of that, I'm just going to take a quick second and introduce myself because we've had so many new friends join us lately. Hello to Wendy watching on YouTube too. So my name is Jessica A's and I am the designer and right now everything else behind Double the Stitches. And that is where the brand that I design behind, and I design mostly knitting patterns. I do have a few crochet patterns to my name, but lately my focus, my passion, my drive has really been focused on designing knitting patterns. And so I have Double the Stitches, which is named after my twin boys. They are 12 now, but once upon a time they were little itty bitty babies who did not like to sleep. And so one sleepless night when they were probably around 6 months or so, it occurred to me that if I ever wanted them to have handmade special things from me, I was going to need to double my stitches. And so that is how the name was kind of born. And over time, I started teaching workshops and classes and all kinds of things like that. And that led me to build my Stitch Society membership. And that has been a wonderful, tight-knit, close-knit, private group where I offer more in-depth support, more direct support, more of a community, more camaraderie. We get together on Zoom a couple times a month. They get access to all my workshops and all of those things. But this chat today is not about Double the Stitches or about the Stitch Society. It is about Yarn Store Day, and it is about the Trust Fall Shawl. So let's dive in and talk all about that. So I'm wondering, and you can share in the chat with me, if you have ever experienced the leadership exercise. It's often shared as of a trust fall, or maybe it's just something that you have done for with friends where you literally fall backwards, sometimes with your eyes closed. I find it easier if my eyes are closed. And you fall back into the arms of a friend or a group of friends or coworkers, and you're really leaning on each other and you're really trusting that they're going to catch you. And so let me know in the comments. I'm going to take a quick sip and I'll talk more about the inspiration, and then I'll tell you all about how everything is going to work. So, have you ever done a trust fall? Let me know. All right, you guys are a little quiet today. So we'll just dive in. So one of the things that inspired me, that as I was trying to come up with a name for the shawl, is this quote by Maya Angelou, where she said, "Have enough courage to trust love one more time and always one more time." And that's just um, such a beautiful quote. And as I was thinking about trust falls and the stitch that I used and knitting patterns and teaching other knitters, I realized that one of the things that I have found to be true of many knitters is that um, they don't always trust themselves. They don't always trust the process of knitting. They don't always have that confidence in themselves or in the pattern. A lot of times something kind of goes wrong with the pattern, where what they're knitting doesn't look exactly right or stitch counts are off. And I have found that a lot of times that gut instinct is the pattern must be wrong, right? Um, but not always. Sometimes it's just that it's a learning experience. Maybe it's a stitch count that you haven't done before. Maybe it's not understanding the directions because they weren't entirely clear, or just because it's new to you, something that you haven't done. And something else that I have found over, my time as a designer and as a teacher, a design teacher, knitting teacher, crochet teacher, all of those things, I have found also that as adults, we are not used to that feeling of not knowing how to do something, that feeling of stumbling, that feeling of, fail seven times, get up eight, is an important life lesson, right? And so a knitting pattern can also feel like a trust fall, a leap of faith into each stitch, trusting in the accuracy of the instructions and also in your own creative abilities. And so that is kind of what was in my mind as I designed the shawl and knit the shawl, is that I wanted you to trust the pattern, but also to trust in your own abilities as a knitter. So we're going to talk now a little bit about how you can join the knit along, how you can get the Trust Fall Shawl for free. And I have, um, so to talk a little bit more about what Yarn Store Day is, I will share some of that with you too. It is, one second, let me just pull something up. To There we go. Okay. So, Yarn Store Day is something that was created, an event created by the uh, TNNA, which is the National Needle Arts Association. And so it was a program, it was an event designed to bring traffic to local yarn stores. It has brought thousands of yarnies, yarn enthusiasts, knitters, crocheters from all across the United States and Canada into their local yarn shops on this specific weekend each year to see exclusive products, unique products created especially for the day. So it's like an international yarn crawl, with international being the US and Canada. I am lucky enough to say that I do actually have a yarn store participating, and this is, I think it might be their third year participating, that is in South Africa. They got wind of it through social media, and they were so excited to be able to participate even from such a great distance. And it's always the last Saturday in April, and it's just a wonderful way to show love and show support to your local yarn stores. And being in retail is hard. Being a yarn store is hard. As a yarn store, it's a hobby business. It's a luxury for many of us. It's, when we need to cut expenses, the expensive yarn is, for a lot of us, the thing that goes before, of course, the necessities to survive. And the economy is hard. And so we're not getting into, all of those details, but I wanted to share a little bit what Yarn Store Day is all about. And we have some more friends joining us too. So hello to all of you who have joined. This is my 5th year that I have created a special project for this event. The last 2 years, I did a check, and kind of averaging out yarn expenses, costs for the kits from the yarn stores, and came to a total of minimum of having raised $30,000 over those weekends, each of those last 2 years. So I would love your support to help and support our local yarn stores. And I want to share information about where you can find a local yarn store. And that website, that banner went away. It is doublethestitches.com/LYS Day. And sharing a few more pictures with you of the shawl. I knit my shawl using DK weight yarn, a light DK weight yarn. I used Jody Long Alba. The shawl took about 750 yards of yarn. For this specific yarn, it was 2 balls. So it was really a great value in this yarn. And some comments in the chat. Rosemary says, hello, Jessica. Looking forward to starting this shawl. And Christina on YouTube says, good afternoon, everyone. So it was about 750 yards of DK weight yarn, Jody Long Alba, but you are welcome to knit it in any yarn that you would like. That is absolutely your choice. There are many different yarns that our yarn stores have used to knit theirs, and I have some of my testers projects to share with you, and a few of the yarn shops have started creating projects and sharing theirs with me. The Fiber Studio at Yarns to Die For used their hand-dyed yarn, and I did have a knitter reach out and ask what would it look like if the textured sections were done in a different color, and so I was so thrilled when they sent this picture to me, so you can get a feel for how it looks with contrasting colors in the project. And just looking at the comments in the chat, someone said, I brought some of that recently from one of my LYS and used the gross to make a shrug. It shows great stitch definition, at least for crochet. Yeah, I loved it for, I loved the stitch definition. I love seeing the different projects in the different colors of Alba and seeing the different projects. This was knit by Christine from Eagle Bend's Alpaca Farm in Kentucky, and she used their hand-dyed yarn, and she loved it so much that she bound this one off, blocked it, took pictures, and went ahead and cast on another using Jody Long Alba. And Spin Me a Yarn used Emily C. Giles, and it was knit by Susan. I apologize if I butchered the pronunciation, but it was such a pretty hand-dyed yarn. I loved the look and the drape and all of that. And I was so happy to see this beautiful picture of, I think her name is Candace, from Stitch and Skein using Fibra Natura Kingston Tweed. And so Stitch and Skein is the name of her yarn shop. And I love getting to see sneak peeks of all the pretty corners of your yarn stores. And Rose and Roses using Barocco Remix Light. And that is, I think Sati knit that one. Not Sati. And Swanky Mountain Yarn Shop used a new hand-dyed yarn that they're introducing. And I love seeing all the different the different speckles and the colors. I love getting to show off our my testers' creativity and the yarn shop creativity. This was one knit using Queensland Falkland worsted. It was knit by Laura, and she actually used three different colors of yarn, three different shades of the same yarn, and she picked the lightest color from the beginning. She picked that up and put that into the border, and I thought that was pretty. The beauty of the way that this shawl is written is that you're starting at the very top of the shawl, and you're starting with a garter type cast on with just a few stitches, and then you're knitting sections that are 12 rows. And because of the way that it's constructed, it grows really fast, it grows wide. The number of repeats gives you all of that beautiful length to make it nice and cozy for you. And you can knit as many repeats of the pattern as you would like, and you can then move into the border. You can make the border wider if you choose to. And so I have information in the pattern for you if you'd like to customize it. If you'd like to make it a shawlette, you can certainly do that. So you can make it, as big and generous as you'd like, or, a small little scarf, whatever your preference is that suits you, your personality, your style, and how you like to wear your knits. You can use multiple colors like she did, or this was like Laura did. This was knit by Sarah at Casting On, and she used Chopel Wool Edition 3. So all of those colors are self-striping and they are built into the yarn. So the yarn does all of the color work there. And you can use any yarn. Personally, I find that natural fibers tend to block out nicer, but you can use anything, that makes your heart sing, that makes you happy. Sonia is using Cascade 220 Superwash for hers, and Yarnies and Swag is using Malabrigo Yarns Arroyo. And you can even knit it in a cotton. So one of my testers, Laura, does not use wool. She's allergic to it. So she is using Sistari Monticello collection to knit hers. And Nicole knit this beautiful sample in Malabrigo Sussurro. And one of our, a brand new yarn shop that just opened this year, called the Blue U. They are in West Virginia, and Maria knit this for them. I think it was a yarn from Symphony. I'll have to check that for you all. And Beth cast hers on using Jody Long Alba. And I love that this yarn has all these beautiful flecks of different colors in there. And on the left, we have Shoshana's shawl, and she's using an alpaca for hers. And on the right is Laura's puppy Zelda, who really loves the yarn and the pattern. And she shared that with me in our little testing channel. And so I wanted to share that with you all too. And Cheyenne's shawl is in progress too. I love the gray yarn that she picked for hers. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit also about what the pattern looks like, what's included in the pattern, and what you'll find once you get the pattern. So one of the things that it really is important to me, whenever I can, and whenever it makes sense with the pattern, I create a special additional version of the pattern for you at no additional cost. It's a low vision and screen reader friendly version of the pattern. So here on the left, you have what the basic directions for what the page looks like in the standard formatted pattern. Typically, I try to use a sans serif, which means it doesn't have those little extra things hanging off the letters. It makes it nice and easy and readable. And I usually knit it, use around a 12-point size for my directions. So it's much easier to read than a magazine that maybe uses, say, a 9-point size font. But if you look on the right side of your screen, then you'll see an example of one of the pages from the low vision and screen reader accessible pattern. So the font is much, much larger. It's written in a different way. There are no abbreviations. Everything is explained. Repeats are explained before the instructions. The file will have a lot of pages. It's not 18, it's going to be more as I keep going. But it's made so that if you're struggling with your vision and you just need it to be a little bit bigger, you can work from that. But also, if you really are struggling with your vision and you need it to be read to you, even there are fancy options out there, but even something as simple and easily and readily available as Adobe Acrobat has a function to read text out loud to you. and you can tell it to read the whole thing to you, to read a page, you can highlight a section, and there are more low vision patterns out there. There's a whole website devoted to them called it's accessiblepatterns.index.com. And it helps those who maybe you've been crafting for your entire life and now you are starting to struggle. Maybe it is, some medical thing that has happened, or maybe it's just, as the years go by, the glasses prescription gets a little stronger and a little stronger, right? um, I also include a stitch count table and tracker in the pattern. It's included there for you. It goes through the entire pattern for you so that you can keep track of where you are. So you'll know what section, meaning what repeat you're working, and you'll know what row number you're working, the number of stitches you started with, how many you're increasing by, the number of stitches that you'll end with, the row that you are repeating will also be in there for you too. So you know what directions to refer to, and just a little column for you to mark off as you have completed the pattern. So that's for the entire pattern as it's written, all the way from the setup and the cast on through the border. So it's a bunch of pages, and if that is something that you are not interested in using, then you absolutely can just skip printing those pages. There was a question in the chat from where do we find the list of participating shops? So I don't know if it should be displaying on the screen, but maybe it's not. uh, but it is the banner there? Yeah. So find a participating local yarn store. It's at doublethestitches.com/LYS Day. And I can head over there and just show you what that looks like. So when you go to doublethestitches.com/LYS Day, there is a whole page for you talking about the shawl, talking about the event, talking about how it all works and all of that. You'll see at the top here, there's one button to find a participating LYS, local yarn store, and another that brings you straight to where to sign up for the knit along. So as we scroll down, the button to sign up will bring you right here to find a participating LYS. And there is also this form here to fill in just your first name and your email address so that I can keep you updated, remind you of the dates. Right now, there are 276 participating local yarn stores and counting. I'm still adding to that list. I have at least 2 more, I think, in my inbox to add right now. So if you're watching and you own a local yarn store, or you are friendly with a local yarn store owner, you think that they might want to participate, please, there's a link on that page with a short form, and they can fill that out, and I will add them to the list, and I will send them the unique codes to gift to their customers. So let's see if that answers the questions. If you are, say, only on Saturday, or if you have commitments on Saturday, we can go another day. So you have to it's really yarn store specific. Some shops are only open, they're closed on Sundays. Some are open the whole weekend. Some maybe are typically closed on Sunday, but they may be open just for this special event. So reach out to the yarn shop that you intend to visit and just check with them for their hours and availability. There will be a list probably tomorrow on that LYS Day, doublethestitches.com/LYS Day. There will be a list with all of the yarn stores that have kits on their website that they've shared with me. So if you don't live near a yarn store, then you can support another store by buying a kit online. You're also welcome to knit from your yarn stash, but I do encourage, if it's within your means, of course, to visit a local yarn store and support them next weekend. You will get, if you purchase the yarn to knit the shawl from one of the shops that have agreed to participate with me, they will have a Ravelry code to give you. So you can take that code, go to ravelry.com/pattern/library/trust-fall-shawl. It's on the screen there. And it also will be in your emails if you sign up for my email list. I'm going to make it super easy, super simple for you to find the pattern, or you can search on Ravelry for a Trust Fall Shawl, and you will find the pattern page. Looks like this on Ravelry. So right now the pattern itself is not active. It will be active on Friday when the pattern will be available and the codes will begin to be available to be redeemed starting on this next Friday, a week from today, at 8 o'clock Eastern through Sunday at midnight. So if you're buying online, make sure that you get the code from your yarn store so that you can redeem it while the codes are active. So it's just Friday through Sunday of next weekend. If you're ordering online, there will be time to receive your yarn before our cast-on party. We're going to have a cast-on party. I'll talk about that next. And sign up for my emails. So you'll get the links to register for the 3 live Zoom events. And you'll also get 3 digital gifts from me, printable gifts. And you'll stay in the loop on all things Double the Stitches. So the live events that I wanted to talk to you all about. Before we dive into the live event, someone says, if I knit from my stash, it will be yarn from a local yarn store. So then if you're knitting from your stash, previously purchased yarn, then you're welcome to go ahead, purchase the pattern on Ravelry. The pattern will also be available for purchase on PayHip if you don't use Ravelry, but the codes will only work on Ravelry. But the idea is supporting them this particular weekend. So if you're knitting from your stash, but you want to join me for the knit along, then you can go ahead, purchase the pattern. It'll be $8. And there is no additional cost for the live events, for the cast-on party and the knit nights. Okay, so the live events, let me, so you can see the dates. Let's see. There we go. And I'll hide that banner too. Okay, so the 3 live events that I am hosting for this will have a cast-on party. We're not doing it right away. We're doing it on May 4th. So that gives you a week to get the yarn in the mail. If you're purchasing a kit, it gives you an extra week of time to receive your yarn. But if you don't have your yarn in hand, you can come and join and watch the cast on party. And then when it does arrive, then you can cast on your shawl. I'm going to walk you through the stitches used in the shawl, so you'll have support from me in order to knit your own. The beautiful thing about the way that the shawl is designed is that I'm going to show you how to do the garter tab cast on for the crescent shaped shawl. We'll knit a few rows in stockinette. Those are very few stitches in there because we're just at the very beginning. And then I'm going to show you how to do the special stitch that is used in the pattern so that you'll be on your way. Once you have learned that special stitch, you'll have everything that you need to know in order to knit your own Trust Fall shawl. So there's no surprise stitches as you go on in the process of knitting it. Then we're going to have, and that will be recorded. The cast on party will be recorded. And if you're on my email list, I will send out the link so that you can watch the replay. So make sure you're on the list for that. And then we're going to have, we'll pause for a few weeks while you work on your shawls. And then we'll get together for 2 knit nights. And those are spaced out a bunch too to give you time to make progress. Those will be on Zoom. The knit nights are not recorded because I want you to feel comfortable coming and joining and turning your camera on and turning your microphone on if you choose to, and sharing and chatting with fellow knitters and feeling that sense of warmth, of community, of camaraderie, of being together, but without worrying about someone. It feels like eavesdropping, right? To listen in on other people's conversations after the fact. So because it's not educationally motivated, it is just a sense of community. So that will not be recorded. And we have two of those. One will be Saturday, May 18th at 7 o'clock Eastern. And then the second one will be on Saturday, June 8th, again, also at 7 o'clock Eastern. Saturday, June 8th is also Worldwide Knit in Public Day. So go ahead, support, enjoy if you have local knitting groups, go knit in a park, go knit in a restaurant or a pub or a bar or wherever you choose to go at your kid or grandchild soccer game or what have you. So go enjoy knit in public. If you have someone who's always wanted to learn how to knit, it's a great day to teach them the basics, teach them how to knit. And then come join me in the evening, 7 o'clock Eastern on Zoom. We'll get together for our second knit night there for the Trust Fall Shawl. So let me just see if there are any other questions for me here in the chat. Let's see. And Ball and Stitch says, yes, the online stores are not on the website yet. That is what I'm working on this weekend. So any yarn stores that might be watching this, if you haven't sent me a link yet for your kits, please send that to me. I was giving yarn stores a couple of days to do that. I'm going to send them another email and just remind them. And we have Yolanda is saying hi, all from Wild Hand LYS in Philadelphia. So happy to have you here. Hi. And yes, so that is pretty much the basics of it. I'm going to put that banner back on the screen. And where is that? Here it is. So you can find a participating local yarn store. As I said, we have 276 yarn stores and counting. So I'm still adding more stores. If a yarn store that would love to join, happy to add anyone. The idea behind the event is not just to give away free patterns, but to do it in a way that is beneficial, that supports the local yarn stores. They really are that backbone of our community, of the fiber world. And so I want them to be lifted up and supported and do what I can through my pattern design to support them. So there's also, yarn stores, yarn distributors have deals, special things for you. A lot of yarn stores have a unique and special colorway for the occasion. There's a few other designers who also have patterns. So, take a drive, head over to a yarn store and support them next weekend. And I'll just see if anyone has any other questions, anything that I missed. Dennis says, I'm so excited. I hope my yarn from In Sheep's Clothing comes soon. So I had the opportunity this past week. I did 2 live chats with yarn stores. I got to join Paulette from Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl and Ginger from In Sheep's Clothing. So both of those stores will have kits on their website. And can you show the shawl that we are making? Absolutely. I would love to. Let's see. There we go. So this is 2 pictures of it. This is another one. It is a great maybe like a next step for a beginner because the stitches are not terribly complicated and because you can make it as big as you'd like. So I'm just scrolling through again. These are some of the test knitter and yarn shop sample maker projects that they have shared with me so far. And I will be sharing, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I'll be sharing pictures from them as well. So lots of beautiful shawls. It really just looks pretty in any color. And the Jody Long Alba is a beautiful yarn with beautiful tweedy flecks, but you can choose any yarn. It is puppy approved. Zelda the puppy, Laura's puppy, who's one of my testers, loved the shawl curled up in a ball. And so that is what I had to share with you all. If anyone has any other questions, feel free, ask them in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, feel free and share your questions with me. I'm going to be checking the chat and answering anything that I can. And let me just see if there's anything that I missed on the Facebook page or in the group. Let me head over there too and see if there's any. I think I got all the comments and questions. Dennis says, what type of needles are needed? So you need a circular needle to accommodate the large number of stitches. Angeli says, share to my profile. Thank you so much. So the type of needles, I used a US 7 needle to knit my shawl, and that is what I found that most of my testers used as well. If you're using a thinner yarn, you can go down in needle size a little bit. If you're using like a worsted weight yarn, it's up to you. You may want to go with a little bit bigger needle. Alba is a lightweight DK yarn, and so I would typically, if I was knitting, say, a garment out of it, and then I might go with a smaller needle, like say a US 5. Because I was knitting a shawl and I wasn't focused on making sure, that it was concealing anything. You know what, I'll grab it and I can show you. So it's light, it's airy, it is cozy, it is warm. It is a really fun stitch. What I love about anything that kind of has stripes built into it or sections, it encourages me to keep going. One more row, one more section, right? But it also helps me to see my progress, to be able to count, to know how far along I've gotten in the progress. And the nice thing about the crescent shaped shawl is that you are, with the crescent shaped shawl, you're beginning with the garter tab and then you're increasing just on the ends, and you're increasing on every row, right side and wrong side, but it's just at the end. So when you are working in the center, you just have some nice, easy TV knitting or social knitting. You can do, any of that with you. You can do any of those activities, because it's just that comfortable stockinette, knit on one side, purl on the other side, except when you get into the rows that create the textured section. And Faith says, I crochet with Alba with a 5.0 hook when the pattern asked for 4.5, if that helps. Yeah, so it really depends on, how tight of a knitter you are. With a shawl, I think one of the most important things is that you want a fabric that you're going to enjoy wearing. So I like to go a little bit bigger in my needles so that the size increases faster, right? But also you get this fabric that is just beautiful and drapey. Alba blocked beautifully. The texture, you can really see it. Those little eyelets opened up so nicely, and it got even softer with blocking. It is a little bit of a rustic kind of a feel to a wool. It's not it's not a silky smooth merino, but it's a beautiful, beautiful yarn, and it is lightweight, airy, and it's cozy too. So it's you can kind of wear it all seasons. And I hope that you love knitting it, and I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you join me for the knit along stuff. So I'll just quickly, before I sign off, share again. This is that link that you want to find a participating local yarn store, and that will also give you the link for, there's an email sign up right on that page, so you don't have to go anywhere else. And if you're not in the community yet, you can join me at doublethestitches.com/the group. And the pattern page, if you want to look up close at any of the project pages that have been created and see the yarns that they have used, is on Ravelry now. We have where did you get the Alba yarn? So I bought mine from a yarn store that is local to me, called Knit, but you can purchase it from any of the yarn stores. The two that join me for chats, Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl and In Sheep's Clothing, have it on their website already, and I'm going to see if I can even get those links up, the ones I have so far already, today, so that you guys can start shopping. And just make sure that you redeem the code. The codes are good for next weekend only. So next weekend, Friday through Sunday, and then that's it. They're done. They're expired. The pattern will be available to purchase if you're knitting from your stash or supporting a different yarn store. If you have any questions, reach out to me, and I will share uh, my email. If you have any questions, feel free, reach out to me at hello@doublethestitches.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful yarn store day next weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care, friends. Bye.